Hi, my name is Simsola Ogwinka, and I'm a writer, I'm a wife, a mother, producer, entrepreneur, um, currently going crazy about AI and doing AI videos. But yeah, welcome to this channel. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Hit the bell so that you can get notifications, and also like this video, share, comment. In this video, I just want to encourage someone. um, I'm going to be sharing very briefly um, our story of how my family moved to South Africa, and then left South Africa. It's it sounds like a movie, and maybe one day I will get the energy to write it in a book or do it in a movie. But yes, my husband is a pastor, he's an apostle, he plants churches, and we got married in 20 we got married in 1998 in Calabar, Nigeria, and later on in 2004 we started Hemon City Church in Calabar. At the time, my husband would say, the church is fashioned after the church at Antioch, where the leadership of the church moves to start a new church. And he would say that I will just announce to you when God says go. I'll just carry my bag, carry my wife and children, and go. And that happened the first time. It happened in 2011. So he picked his bag, moved to Abuja. The family moved shortly after. He moved in May, we moved in August after schools closed and all that. So I gave out everything I could give out, packed my clothes and the children. We moved to Abuja and we started our church in Abuja. And we were in Abuja till 2014. And then my husband, I remember early 2014, my husband told me he's really feeling like moving to South Africa. He's feeling this nudge, this leading to move to South Africa. Before then, 7 years earlier, or thereabout, 2007, he used to go to South Africa to preach. He had friends there. So he went to South Africa and decided to, register Hemon City Church in South Africa, and he did that. And so we had a business permit. I think the business permit was valid for 7 years. So yeah, that must be 2008. So anyway, he had a valid business permit. So we decided to, file for ourselves, myself and the children. He filed for us something they call accompanying permit. So I had the accompanying spouse permit. The children had the accompanying parent permit. So we moved to South Africa in 2014. I remember early 2014, I told him, I said, this South Africa, is it not better that we stay back in Abuja? And, you go. When you start the church and you settle, we can come and meet you. And he said, no, that's not how God wants us to do this. We should all move together. Luckily for me, I wasn't working at that time, so it wasn't difficult for me to, I was just doing my writing. I was writing a lot. Glory be to God. I was writing a lot in those years. And so in fact, in 2013, God gave me a new vision. Should I say? I started my True Dream novels. I have like 15 or 16 of those True Dream novels right now. They are short, fast read, 90 minutes, 1 hour to 2 hours, you're finished reading it. Short, sweet romance novels. So check them out too. I have some of them on Amazon anyway, and on seller.co and on Amber Hive, right? So anyway, I was writing a lot, so I were able to move. I remember telling my husband, "Are you sure we should not stay back?" He said, "No, we will all move." So he left in August, and we joined him in October of 2014. And we started the church. We were doing evangelism, the normal thing that I'm used to, being married to somebody like that who is very passionate about souls, winning souls, leading people to Christ, leading people for God. My husband is very, very passionate about the things of God, and I thank God for him. So we moved the kids to the glory of God miraculously. Our brother, who was living in South Africa, in Pretoria at the time, Brother Phipps Dano, he was able to help us to get a very nice accommodation and very beautiful compound. I really like that house, that bungalow with a big yard. I really liked it. So we moved there. The kids, the school, the neighborhood is a very nice neighborhood in Pretoria West, and the kids we got them into their primary school. That time my two younger kids were still in primary school, so we got them into the primary school. The two older ones were secondary school age, so we miraculously got them into this very good school in the neighborhood, Elan Sport. Very nice school, very great school. So in fact, for our oldest, she was supposed to be in grade 11, and there was only one spot available in that school, and they gave her. We were so grateful to God. And our son got into grade 9. So school life was going on well. But remember, the business permit that we had was for 7 years, I think, and it was expiring in 2015, December 31 to be precise. So in April, my husband had done the research, and in April of 2015, we started looking for an agent that will help us in the system that time. I mean, you could apply yourself without an agent, but they go through VFS, I think that's the name, and you just have to go through an agent, kind of. So we had met this Cameroonian man who was an agent when we were trying to get student permits, because they had that accompanying parent permit. Now, that accompanying permit allows you to just accompany. You can just come into the country and leave. You cannot work with it as a spouse. You cannot do business with it as a spouse. You cannot go to school as a spouse. You cannot do anything. You can't even open a bank account. That accompany just allows you to come into the country and leave the country. And it is the same for the kids. So they couldn't even legally go to school with that permit. So for the primary school, the principal of the school was like, they can be, if you want to go get the student permit, fine, but they can attend. But for the older ones, they also told us that, they can attend school normally, but when they are, for our older daughter who was going to be graduating soon, that she would not be allowed to sit for the exam. They call it matric. In Nigeria, is the equivalent of like our WAEC. So they said she would not be allowed to sit if she did not have a student permit. So we decided, well, let's just file for the two of them. So we filed for student permit for our two older kids, and they were denied. They were denied the student permit, which did not even make sense. So the day we were submitting that permit, our agent did not show up. He was in Nigeria. He didn't show up. And so my husband had difficulty filling things out. So this Cameroonian guy, who was an agent for somebody else who was there with his own clients, helped out, and it was really nice. So my husband was like, let's get his contact. So we did. He did. So when we wanted to do this, we wanted to renew the business permit, which was they said it would take 4 to 6 months. So we said, let's start early. Let's start 8 months early. So in April, we went to meet this Cameroonian guy, and he spoke. He's a Christian. He was a Christian at the time. So he spoke very well. He gave us the amount we were supposed to pay. It was almost 10,000. It was more than 10,000 rands per person. I think, yeah, we were to pay 80,000 rands. And he said that we shouldn't renew the business permit, that we should just go for the permanent residence at once, that was a better thing and everything, and it takes about the same time. He spoke well, and we believed him. So he said we were to pay 80,000 rands. It was a lot of money. So we said, but he said we could pay 30,000 upfront, and then we would pay the rest after we get our approval. So that sounded like a good plan. I mean, to get the permanent residence, you know, that was a good plan. So we paid him 30,000 rands, and that was it. He kept saying everything was going well, everything was going well. In September, which is now 5 months after, I traveled to the United States at the time. My mom was with my sister. She wasn't feeling too well, so I said, let me go sit with her, help with her care and all that. So I traveled to the United States. My husband went for house fellowship, and his bag was stolen from his car, and his passport was in it. So back then in South Africa, it is advisable for you to go around with your passport, because anybody can stop you at any time and ask for your documentation and all that. So his passport was stolen. So he quickly told the agent that my passport was stolen. So the agent said he needed to get a new passport, and that we needed to now put in that new passport, because since my husband was the principal applicant, his passport number was what they were using to, you know, do the process. So he needed to get a new passport, and we needed to put in that new passport. Lo and behold, he couldn't get a new passport until December. So the agent said that he reported that the passport had been stolen, and so the process was stalled. Now this is December. This is our final month. All our papers, because our accompanying permits was valid until the business permit that my husband had. So that was December 31, 2015. So in December, passport finally came out. So the agent, I can't even remember his name. Anyway, I can't remember his name, but even if I remember, maybe it won't be good to put it out here. But the agent now, said, we needed to put in the new passport. So sometime in January, by which time we had already overstayed our permit. We are now out of status. So we were a bit frantic. So the agent told us, don't worry. So we went to the VFS office with him in January of 2016 and put in the new passport. And that was the last time we ever saw that agent. We heard from him for a bit, for like 3-4 months, when he would say it's still in process, we shouldn't panic, we shouldn't worry. We went to his office at some point, and we were told that he moved from that office and he did not leave an address, a forwarding address. We WhatsApped him, we called. Once he said, okay, let's meet at a particular place. We got there, he was not there, he didn't show up. Anyway, the last time we saw him was January, sometime end of April. We were now really scared, because we are now out of status for 4 months, and we couldn't travel, we couldn't do anything. So we now I met one lawyer at some point. So sometime I met one lawyer. He's an Indian. So we went. I called him. I told him, this is the situation that I'm in. that can he help? So he said, yeah, come in. We went to his office. He said he would do an investigation into our case. So lo and behold, April 2016, our lawyer came back and told us that we were out of status. Of course, we had been banned for 5 years, of course, because we were out of status, but also because our agent submitted a fraudulent piece of evidence, our audit, the audit that was supposed to accompany our application, because it was through, we were there as staff of, my husband was there as staff of Hemon City Church. So there had to be an audit of the church. So the audit that the agent put in was fraudulent. And when he actually spoke to us about that audit, and we were like, how much would it cost? And he said, don't worry, since this is a church, that the audit is not a big deal, that he knows, he works with an audit firm that will get it. So when we heard that, we started calling him and asking him and all that. And he said he'd never met with us, but he said it was a lie, that some people were trying to, mess him up, destroy his business, and that there was nothing like that. Anyway, that was the last time we heard from him. He never picked up our call anymore. He never spoke to us anymore after that. So we were now left with decisions. What do we do? Kids are in school. We were out of status. And so we started talking to that agent. We went back to our Nigerian agent that we had spoken to before. We started asking questions, because the lawyer told us that what we could do was to sue government and say, you banned us and you blacklisted us falsely. He said and that he could argue that out. Number one, he was asking for, I think, 30,000 rands to do that. And then number two, it could go either way. And when you go before government and you lose, for us, it will be instant deportation. They will cut us from the court to the deportation camp. We were not ready to risk that. So we started looking for other options. So somebody said, my husband should go back to Nigeria. Go back to Nigeria. I mean, like the Nigerian agent said, go back to Nigeria, get a visa, South Africa visa again, fresh, come back, and then we will now do the paper all over again and do like fresh application. So what would he do now? He needed to go back. He needed to get a new passport. They said he should bring his passport. They will help him get a new passport. He said they damaged the passport, and that was the basis for him to be able to go back to get a new passport. So he got a new passport. He got a new South Africa visa. And when he was coming back into the country, at the point of entry, he was refused entry. Immediately, he gave them the new passport. His name popped up as somebody who had been banned, who had been blacklisted, and he was taken straight to the jail in the airport. That was when we knew that there was jail in airports. He was taken straight to the jail in the airport, and he was locked up because his return ticket, because it was a visiting visa he was coming with. He had a return ticket. The flight was not returning until the next day. The flight will come in once a day and go back immediately. So that flight wasn't coming back until the following day, and my husband slept in the cell. Something that had never happened to him, never happened to us before. I remember, I think it was a Tuesday, and up until this year, I used to mark that calendar. I used to celebrate that day, that horrible, awful day in July. But this year I didn't do it. I mean, like, God has turned our captivity away. And I want to encourage you, if you are listening to me, if you are here listening to this video and you are hearing me, I want to encourage you, don't be discouraged. There's a time for everything, regardless of what season you are going through in your life Stay true to God. Focus on God, and God will help you. Say after me, God will help me. God will help me. God will help me. Hallelujah. So I'm not preaching anyway, but I remember I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, I didn't take my bath for 3 days. And I remember joking that if they had told you, see me, come and do 3 day dry fasting, I was say, I'm tired, I'm hungry. I was not hungry, I was not sleepy, I would just doze off, I wake up again. And I was so scared. I had never experienced anything like that in my life. We were law-abiding citizens. We kept to the law. We tried our best to do all we needed to do. Our children know that we don't cut back, we don't take bribe, we don't give bribe, we don't, we try to just be good citizens, Christians, in the true sense. So when that happened, my husband was returned, or he was put back on the following day. He was put back on a plane. He couldn't sleep, he couldn't eat, of course. Was put back on a plane to Lagos, and I couldn't even tell anybody. I couldn't tell my mom, because my mom would have, I don't know what would have happened to her. She would have been heartbroken, devastated. She could have had that attack. So I didn't tell her. I just told her that I couldn't come back. I just told some lame tale. I probably know she knew something was not right. But anyway, he was returned July 19, 2016, yes. And we had to make a decision. Either I leave with the kids. So the South African school year runs from January to December. That's how it ran then. I don't know if that's what they still do. So that July was like second term, and our first daughter was going to write her matric it was November, so I think end of October to November was when the exam was going to hold. So we had to make a decision. Should we leave immediately? Because now our agent wasn't picking our calls anymore. The lawyer was saying something that we didn't think we could do. And our agent had put us in a mess. What he planned, what he said was going to happen, did not happen. So we made a decision. We decided, okay, let's lay low. Let our daughter do her matric. In fact, by that time, she had already gotten an offer to school at the University of Johannesburg, and she was doing so well. So we said, okay, we'll lay low. She will finish her matric, and then we pack all our bags and go. Our son would have been done with grade 10. Our second daughter would be done with grade 7. Last will be done with grade 6. So we were like, at least we'll come home. So I remember, of course, I couldn't work, so I had to go look for under the table job, which I did. I think I did that job for like 1 or 2 months, and then I lost that job. It was so difficult because that was also the period when the president, late President Buhari at the time, had made some international financial policies that we couldn't use our Nigerian cards outside of Nigeria. So my husband couldn't put money in my account for me to cash it out in Pretoria. So I had to go look. I started looking for Nigerians who needed money back home, who could give me the equivalent. It was tough. And it was also around winter. July is a very cold month in South Africa. We didn't have enough money. I remember we bought blankets, and I'll tell the kids, during the day, just wrap yourself in your blankets, layer up, because we didn't have money to get heating for the house. So in the middle of that, the devil was attacking me, attacking my marriage. Every time I speak with my husband, we are fighting, we are quarreling on the phone over everything. We didn't have money. he didn't have money. It was in that period also that he now said, we now got, God works wonders. I tell you, let me say that again, God works wonders. So in that 2016, we all had American visas that were expiring. So our visa was expiring in September. We needed to do Dropbox. Now, my husband was back home. He could do his own, but all our passports were with us. I had to, courier all our passports home for him to do the Dropbox for us. He had that passport that was stamped refused entry by the South African immigration, and it was that passport he took to the United States Embassy to renew his visa, and he was given that visa. So let me say here that regardless of what you're going through, just trust God. God shows up. That was a green light for us. It was like a blast of light in the middle of the darkness that we were going through. In that September, we all got visas to go. Our visas renewed for another 2 years. And it was that visa we used to travel in 2017, January, at the end of the day. And I'm going to say one or two things. Let me be fast. So we were now here, stuck in Pretoria, me and the children. My husband was stuck in Nigeria. We went to the embassy because my last daughter did the math Olympics, and she won for the district. So, we now sent a message to the embassy in Pretoria saying a Nigerian girl just won. They even gave her money. They gave her 2,000 rands. They were so happy. And I now tried to talk about our problem, The ambassador just said something. Oh, High Commissioner, he was High Commissioner. The High Commissioner just said something like, sometimes parents will be doing things they're not supposed to be doing. It was just terrible. No help from there. No help from the okay, so we now went to Johannesburg to meet the ambassador. The ambassador now handed over to an agent. That agent was asking us to bring 75,000 rand. He will make sure that my husband returned. If we could give him 200,000 rand, we will pay. He will get us all permanent residents. We shouldn't worry. Of course, that didn't happen because we didn't have any money at this point. Before then, we had spent all the money we had again. My husband getting a new passport, traveling home, and even paying the agents and some other things. So we now we couldn't get any help from the High Commissioner. We couldn't get any help from the ambassador. I reached out to some people. I got one agent in Cape Town who took my 5,000 rand and disappeared until tomorrow. Maybe he will show up tomorrow. I can't even remember his name. So that one took the money. And another person now came. That one said that she worked in the home office, like their home affairs or home office, that she could get all the ban lifted off our accounts. We will be the blacklist. They will just go in on a Friday night, and because that was a very sensitive server, immediately you log into the server, finance is going to get it, defense is going to get it, interior affairs, so many other departments will get the alert. And so it had to be done in the middle of the night when the offices were closed. I should bring 60,000 rands for that. And I remember that lady saying, that's what they do for criminals, murderers, drug pushers. I said, ma, we were pastors, though. He said, well, that's the money. Thank God. At some point, I even started getting afraid because one man came. He said he worked in the airport, that if my husband can just get on the plane, he will go to the tarmac and bring him out of the plane and walk him out of bypass border and all that. We should bring 35,000 rands. Hey, I started getting afraid that these people, They know my house, they know my number. I hope nothing is going to happen because I was so afraid the offers that they were making. Anyway, my husband and I decided, we would just quietly leave this country. So we said we needed that student permit. You remember I said they need student permit to write matric. So we went to meet the agent. The agent said because it had been denied and the appeal, we didn't put in an appeal at the time, that he would need to bribe people to get it reopened, to do the appeal now because it had lapsed. That permit normally at that time was going for like 1,300 or so rands. We paid 15,000 rands to get that student permit. Anyway, our daughter did matric. She came overall second best in her school, and we were so happy. So that is how in December, first week of December, I packed all my bags. We couldn't even pack everything. In fact, when we were leaving the house, you would think we were just traveling to come back. I couldn't sell my TV, I couldn't sell my fridge, my furniture, everything was there. I just said, well, what can I do? I bought these cheap Ghana must go bags. And I remember when we arrived in Abuja, it was, we arrived in Abuja, and the way they handle, I didn't wrap the Ghana must go. It had torn. Oh my God, it was awful. I remember at the airport, I didn't even have money. I just told the children that the small food that I packed from the house is what we're eating. I bought biscuits and Coke for them. I was like, that was all the money I had. It was so depressing. I was so regally depressed. I can't even imagine. When we got to Abuja, we stayed in my late brother's house because we don't have a house in Nigeria now. Stayed in my late brother's house in Abuja. All our things were just scattered everywhere. It was so depressing. My mom called 2 days after we arrived. My mom called my husband and like, Shebi, you said my daughter has come back with her children. She was talking as if he wasn't anything. Like, I want to talk to my daughter because I switched off my phone. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was so sad. I was so depressed. The church that we went to start, there was no pastor. The pastor that we got, one Zimbabwean pastor, the day we left, he too said, yeah, it's me that will be doing church for you. You, the owner of church, you cannot come and do your church. He too left. So the church had no pastor. In the end, the church closed. It was such a depressing time. But the following month, December, we arrived December, first week in December, first week in January 2017, we decided to fly out. Testimony, no, I can't say it's testimony number one because it's one testimony of many testimonies. We asked our agent, our travel agent, who was a senior friend to us, Christian mom, sister, and we asked her to, to issue, we wanted to travel to America, 6 tickets. She issued the 6 tickets without us paying a dime. We didn't have the money. My husband was still going to try and arrange, maybe beg 1 or 2 people, borrow. The woman just, God bless you, ma. If you are hearing me now, if you are watching this, God bless you. Thank you for allowing God to use you, because it was just God. We just got 6 tickets. In fact, my husband just tried to pay like 1/3 or so of the money from scratching here and there, everything, and borrowing here and there. My sister, my big sister in Lagos, God bless you. She has always been there for me. She gave us part of the money that loaned from here and there, and she ended up writing it off. My mom, my mom, my late mom, my sister, who is still alive and well, God bless her, just helped, just carried us small by small by small. We had so many things we needed to spend money on. And then so we just moved. We just traveled. And God did one amazing thing again for us, it was so interesting and so fantastic, like great for us, because when we were traveling, we were supposed to land in JFK, and there was a snowstorm. So Turkish was the airline we used. Turkish first accommodated us in Abuja for 2 days, for 2 nights, because flights couldn't go to Turkey. And then they now carried us. When we got to Turkey, they accommodated us for another 3 nights because they couldn't land in New York. And so I was like, God is giving us a small vacation. Glory be to God. What a mighty God we serve. And that was how we came to the States. And in another video that I've posted, in another video, I told us about how my writing got us the green card. That talks a little bit about when we arrived and how we were able to get our papers, our green card. And I just want to thank God. And I want to encourage somebody out there. We may not see God's process. When God told us to go to South Africa, because I started asking God, why did you bring us here to just suffer like this? And God gave me a scripture. He said that the one that Jesus said he must pass through Samaria. I know that we left a little mark in South Africa, and I believe there's some lives that were touched by our ministry, and we keep praying for them. We still have people in South Africa who are members of our church. Last year, 2024, we went to Pretoria. We went to do a program. It was so beautiful seeing those people still loving God, still in Christ. We met some other new people again. God is still working, and I believe our South Africa story has not ended. God is good. When we were going back to South Africa last year, we now had our blue passport. We did not use our green passport to go, but even then, they still kind of wanted to delay us. So whatever they put on our names was still showing up, but now it was with an American passport, American citizenship. You see how God works. We were still able to go. We did the program. It was fantastic. So I don't want to take more of your time. Thank you so much for hearing my South African story. Probably things that I've left out. Of course, I can't say it all in these 30-40 minutes, but so many lessons learned that we need to trust in God and trust in his process, because God knows best. I love you. Take care. Please remember, like this video, comment what has God done for you. What story do you have to tell? Do you have a South African story or another country where you almost got banked abroad? Tell me. I want to share. I want to engage. Thank you so much. Like, share this video, comment below, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so. Thank you. Till next time. Bye bye.